Hello, this is Billy Core from the Nostalgia Mall, and today we're going to be taking a look at this computer right here. This is the Dell Inspiron 518. This is my primary Socket 775 Windows XP gaming computer. I bought this computer for a little under 20 bucks at a Goodwill in Charlotte last fall. And I bought it originally to refurbish and sell on eBay, but one, I had trouble getting it to sell on eBay. No one was really interested in it. And two, as you know, my Dell XPS 720 that I got last fall that I was using for stuff like this started behaving very erratically, so I had to get rid of it. So I decided, since this computer wasn't being able to get sold, I might as well put it to good use. So, specs of this, it's got a, well, first of all, the original specs of it, it had, I think, 4 gigabytes of RAM originally, some form of a Core 2 Duo, I forget the clock speed, and it originally shipped with Windows Vista Home Basic. It did not come with a hard drive when I got it, so I don't know what size hard drive this originally came with. Probably like a 160 gig. That's what they were putting in computers like this back then. This particular model was built in August of 2008, so it's about 11 and a half years old. The specs of it now, well, I pretty much upgraded this to nearly the max. I took the Core 2 Duo out of it and replaced it with a Core 2 Quad 9550. I wasn't even sure this computer would take a 9550 or even a Core 2 Quad, because similar systems of this era from Dell did not like Core 2 Quads, but this took 9550 without any trouble at all. I maxed out the RAM to 8 gigabytes of DDR2. I put a 120 gig SSD in it, along with a 500 gig drive for storing data. And it's running the operating system's Windows XP Media Center Edition. No, wait, just Windows XP Professional, I believe. And it's also running Windows 7 Professional. I got it in a dual boot setup. So, as you can see here, it has a very, very glossy finish. You can probably see me in the reflection there. Hello. A little scratched up, but no big deal. I didn't get this computer for the looks. Flip it around to the back. We can see the I/O layout. We've got VGA out, 4 USB 2.0 ports, FireWire 1394, Ethernet connector, surround sound connections right here. Now these cards right here I added myself. This is a NVIDIA GeForce GT 620 video card. Plays all the games I want on here just fine. And for sound, I've got this Creative Sound Blaster Xfi card that I salvaged from the XPS 720, and it works in this computer just as well as it did in the XPS. So this computer was taken from a very, very lowly Windows Vista Basic computer with very, very minimal specs to something quite magnificent. And we can take the cover off. We can take a look inside. Alright, here we go. Okay, you should probably go tripodless now. Okay, here's the inside of the computer. There's our processor, our Q9550. There's our 8 gigs of DDR2 memory, our video card, and our sound card. Right here's our 500 gig hard drive. And down here flopping around is my 120 gig Kingston SSD. I know it's not properly mounted, but it's an SSD, no big deal, and it's not like I keep sensitive data on this computer anyway. Got our power supply right here. I doubt it's anything incredible. It's 300 watts. I'm surprised it's that much. And up here is just a standard DVD-RW drive, a SATA DVD-RW drive, that is. Speaking of SATA DVD-RW drives, I'm just going off on a little bit of a tangent here. Look at all the SATA optical drives I've acquired this past year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 SATA optical drives. So I think I'm good to go as far as SATA optical drives are concerned. I really need to get some more IDE optical drives, though. I'm really short on those. So I'd love to trade some of these for some IDE equivalents, but anyway, that's not the point of this video. Oh, and also you get 2 USB ports up top, and there's a little cover here. You get a 3.5-inch blank right here, 2 more USB ports, and microphone and headphone. Of course, those don't work since I'm using the Sound Blaster card. Now, unfortunately, you cannot put a floppy drive in this computer. It lacks the required connector for it. I believe the holes are there for it, but it's just not populated. In fact, there it is right here is where you could connect it if it existed. But it's not like I'm going to be using floppy drives on a computer like this anyway. And if it's an absolute, positively emergency situation, I can always hook up a USB drive to it. So, let me put it back in its regular home and we can power it up and see what it can do. Alright, let's power it up. Switch KVM inputs. It's input 3. Help turn the monitor on. Okay, I didn't get to the BIOS in time, so I had to restart it. It's a bog standard Dell screen there for the post. Has a RAID controller built in, which also doubles for AHCI SATA. Let's go to System Info. Inspiron 518, BIOS info, August 14th, 2008. Processor type Core 2 Quad Q9550, and it's clocked at 2.83 gigahertz. And we've got 8 gigs of RAM. Of course, I've mentioned all those specs before a while ago. There's our 3 drives: SSD, hard drive, and optical drive. CPU feature. Okay, we do have virtualization turned on. Not that I ever use it on here, but don't really care about that or that. Okay, let's get out of this and boot into an OS. And as I mentioned before, this is dual booted with Windows XP and Windows 7. Let it run that thing there. Alright, we'll start with Windows XP. So yes, this is Windows XP running on an SSD, by the way. It's pretty quick, especially when it boots up. There we go. So yeah, we're already at the desktop. Could you imagine, say, in 2002, Windows XP starting that quickly? Anyway, I've got most of my games installed on this partition, but first we'll take a look at the system information. Core 2 Quad there, go to Device Manager, NVIDIA GeForce GT 620, and zoom in there. Realtek network adapter. So not only is Windows XP running on an SSD, it's also running on a quad core. That's pretty cool. And all the chipset goodness there. Zoom back out. Okay, let's do a quick DX diag. See if it's... No, it's not in the history there. Alright. Some info on our display. Got a gig of video memory. Driver dates from 2016. And sound SB-XY audio. That's pretty much all there is to see there. Now as for games, I've got DOSBox installed on here just because I can. I never use it. The Microsoft Plus for Windows XP games, including my favorite, Hyperbowl Plus Edition. A lot of good times playing that. My all-time favorite game of the 2000s, SimCity 4, which we'll take a look at shortly. And I better be careful, I might get highly addicted to it. And I got Work Suite 2006 along with Office 2003 with Word 2003. Look how quick that opened. To this day, Word 2003 is, in my opinion, the best version of Microsoft Word ever created. It was the last one before the ribbon, and it had a very good interface. Everything just worked perfectly. And I was still using Office 2003 on Windows 7 up until like 2013, 14, or maybe even longer than that. Yeah, I was a late bloomer when it came to Office. What else? We got GTA Vice City with the Back to the Future mod, but for some reason, when I click the icon for it to open, nothing ever happens. I've been having that problem on here for a very long time. Either I have to reinstall the game or reinstall Windows, but it works just fine on the Windows 7 partition. So that's typically where I play Vice City, is on the Windows 7 part of this computer. ScumVM, again, like DOSBox, never really use it. I just put it on here because I could. VLC, The Simpsons Hit and Run. I had a lot of good times playing this game back in the summer of 2004, except it was on my Xbox. I didn't even know they had a PC version until a few years ago. And that's about it for games. As I promised, let's go ahead and open up SimCity 4 Deluxe Edition. This game, let me tell you, if I'm not careful, I get easily addicted to this game. I can lose a whole day's work playing this game because I just love it so much. In fact, I remember summer of 2004, the weekend after I had my wisdom teeth taken out when I was recovering. I spent that whole Saturday playing SimCity 4 on the Dell Dimension 2350. Ran like garbage on that computer, but you know what? I didn't really care. I enjoyed it nonetheless. Let's look at a city I've been working on here called Lakesboro. Basically a really big city with a really big lake. Here we go. Alright, we got a population of 432,265. Yeah, what are you gonna do, cry about it? There's too much traffic. I'm a bad mayor, aren't I? Let's see, we even got a monorail running through the city. And we got an airport up here with a freeway that goes through a bridge slash tunnel through the water, similar to the Chesapeake Bay Tunnel in Virginia. Never been through there. Would love to someday, though. Got an urban loop here. You know what? We'll give them their bigger road. Mainly just to show me doing something productive on camera. Hard to see past these tall buildings, you know. Very majestic music. Lost some buildings there, but oh well. You wanted your better road. There's a price, you know. Yeah, there's always crime near the airports in this game for some reason. And no matter how many police stations you build around it, there's still too much crime. Weird, but oh well. So yeah, this game, highly addicting if you're not careful. If you've never played this is the best game in the SimCity franchise, if you ask me. Yes, I think it's even better than SimCity 2000. SimCity 2000 is still a great game. Highly recommend it, but this game, it just got so many things right. Exit out of this city. So yeah, that's SimCity 4. I actually showed that video in the video I made about the XPS 720. I think around Christmas time. So you can see the two partitions I have here for XP and 7, and this is the 500 gig drive that I keep files on. And I do have Power ISO in here, so I have a virtual optical drive, which is cool. So yeah, probably the most powerful Windows XP computer I've ever owned, with its Q9550 and SSD. This is power that was not imaginable when this operating system came out in 2001. And maybe something is seriously wrong with me. In fact, there probably is. But Windows XP, to this day, I still have trouble accepting that it's out of date. It still feels like a modern OS to me, I guess because I used it for so long. And it was such a firm part of my life for so long. But hey, what are you going to do? So let's restart the computer. And by the way, this copy of XP only sees about 3 or so gigs of the 8 gigs I have in this computer, because this is a 32-bit OS. But we do have Windows 7 on here as well to take advantage of all 8 gigs of memory. So we'll let this reboot. Alright, Windows 7, here we come. La 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 la. Oh, that's silly. Elmo3 said it originally, so go after him, not me. And here's our copy of Windows 7 running just fine. Could not reconnect all network drives, blah blah blah, who cares. Do have, and this version, this copy of Windows runs Vice City with no problem. In fact, I think that's the only game I have installed on this Windows install. So, I guess there's really not much to see here. what I mainly use Windows 7 for on this computer is, for one, playing Vice City, and two, the occasional 4:3 standard definition video editing. I'm actually thinking about moving my VCR and capture card out here and using this computer for capturing VHS video, which will help out with my Retro Commercial Billy channel. Haven't made up my mind yet on that, but I don't see why it wouldn't work. See, again, not a whole lot to see here. We can go to the NVIDIA control panel. We get system information. Don't understand most of that, but now I would like to do a quick MIDI test, since this is a pretty good sound card here. Let's just go with the good old standard Canyon. Well, first let's see if it's going to not use the Microsoft Wavetable. I don't know how to do this on Windows 7. Should have done this in XP when we were still over there. A sound font is required. So yeah, it's not going to play it, at least in VLC. Let's try Windows Media Player. Yeah. Yeah, make it default, why not? Yeah, that sounds like the standard Microsoft Wavetable. But the sound card is capable of much better MIDI than that. I think you just have to be in XP to do that, so why not move back over there and give it a MIDI test on XP. Okay, back in XP. Don't know if you can hear it or not, but the CPU fan really ramped up when I rebooted, but it's done that before, no big deal. Anyway, let's go back to our MIDI files. Let's MIDI, oh, there we go. Alright, let's see if this sounds right now. Sounds good to me. So I guess that's all there is to see on this computer. Very nice computer. This is the only Socket 775 system I currently own, and that's because, well, when it comes to the Core 2 era hardware, I've really started to lose interest in it. I guess because it's in that era now where Pentium 4 used to be, where it's too old to be usable for a lot of things, but too new to be nostalgic for. Of course, this computer still gets the job done for what I use it for when I do need to do late 2000s era stuff, and it does the job just fine. So I guess that'll about end this video. Until next time, this is Billy Core signing off. Thank you for visiting the Nostalgia Mall. If you liked what you saw, please like, subscribe, and follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also support me on Patreon if you would like. The link to all of these are down below. Until next time, this is Billy Core signing off.